Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Shoot the Chit, your #1 source for e-bike information in the entire, well, in this apartment complex at least. You know, if you find yourself, you're the new owner of an e-bike, you watched my motivational video or you watched my review and you went out and purchased an e-bike, now I'm going to tell you what you're going to need to do to take that next step. And by that, I mean, I'm going to be listing off my list of what I deem must-have accessories for your e-bike. These are all things that I personally have found through trial and error. Let's go ahead and get right into it. First accessory I found, and let me tell you, this is not my absolute favorite thing yet. I'm still on the fence about it, but I do like this bag. And this is a Rock Brothers bag. This is a very nice quality bag. This is like semi-waterproof. You can see here it has these little removable compartments in here, so you can put whatever you want. I got this solely for the purpose of putting my camera gear and drone while I ride around. This bag goes on extremely easy, but I have found some side effects to having this bag. It shook around things so much in here that the memory card, the SD card on my drone actually popped out, and I flew the drone and it got to the point where it wasn't recording anymore because the memory card came loose. And it has this little drink pocket on the back, and I put a drink in here one time, and within a quarter mile, hitting bumps, it just launched the drink right out. So I like the idea of this. This bag is probably more well suited for somebody who does a little more tame riding than I do. I like to goof off when I ride around, jump on curbs and things like that, and it just ends up shaking a bunch of stuff in there. It has these bags on the side here that you can unzip. It gives you additional space. You know, this bag has more than enough space for me to put whatever I want in here. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like a lot of these channels you watch, they review things, and all they do is they just strap junk all over the bike. 2 to 3 days worth of clothes on your trips. You never know. Oh, don't forget, you might get hungry or thirsty out there on the trail. So we're going to want to make sure to bring some refreshments. I like Diet Dr. Pepper. You know, you got to watch the calories. If you find that your pannier bag doesn't offer you enough space, that's why I like to put this front backpack right here on the handlebars. If you work from home like I do, don't forget to bring your keyboard so you can respond to those emails while you're out there on the trail. All right, what if we get hungry? Well, fear not. We're going to bring our air fryer. Last thing you want to do is get out there and realize you're going to have to eat some cold snacks. And you know, just in case, I'm going to bring along with my first aid kit. Don't want anything bad to happen while we're out there. Doesn't that look great, guys? As always, all my affiliate links will be down in the description of this video. Don't forget to use those. It really helps support my bank account. I don't need to bring 6 or 7 changes of clothes. All I need to do is bring my essential gear with me. If I want to help someone move, I'm going to take my truck. I'm not going to take my e-bike. It comes with this little rain pouch here you can put on your head. I guess it's actually so you can cover the bag, so it's waterproof. Chances are this bag's going to end up being on the girlfriend's bike to replace this cheapo bag we got on Amazon. I was attempting to change out the rear cassette on this bike, so I bought this nice Shimano unit, and you can see here it has a much bigger granny gear or the low gear. But I took this thing apart, and my cassette removal tool was not deep enough to reach the splines and remove the cassette on the stock cassette. So I bought another removal tool, took it all back apart, and you know what? It was too small. I'm kind of just at the point now where, you know what? This bike's gearing's good enough for me, and I'm just going to accept it. But you know, that being said, it's not a complete waste because look, I found this cool use for it. Man, that's pretty cool, right? It's like now I'm like Flava Flav. Yeah, boy! The good news is this cassette only cost $18. I got it on Prime Day, so it's not a huge waste of money. For reference, the cassettes on my Turbo Levo can start at about $70, and you can spend $300 to $400 on just a cassette. So I don't consider this much of a waste. And man, boy, that looks pretty cool, right? So these are big, heavy bikes, and now you have the ability to ride many miles away from home. Make sure you travel with at least one extra tube in your kit. The last thing you want to do is find yourself 12 miles away from home, get a flat, and realize, oh my God, I have to walk this 80-pound bike back home. That will turn your great day into a horrible day. But this being a hub-driven bike, you can't change the flat as easy as you can on a traditional bike or a mid-drive. So you can't just get away with just a tube. and I'll show you what I've figured out you need to complete a flat change on this bike. If you look here, there is a big nut on the back you're going to have to remove. It's not a quick release. Most bikes have, the front is quick release, but if you're going to have to change the rear, you're going to need the ability to remove that nut. What I've done is I've added this crescent wrench to my kit, and if you notice here, you're going to have these Allen bolts you have to remove as well. And no bike kit on the planet is complete without a multi-tool. This is a Crank Brothers multi-tool I bought years ago. It has most everything you're going to need. Multiple Allen wrenches, some Torx heads, a chain breaker. Yeah, I believe this is like 20 bucks. This is my number one. I use this all the time. This is a nice little unit. This will give you the ability to take off these Allen bolts as well. And a word of advice, when you take off this, take note of the order everything comes off, because you have to put it back in the same way. Another thing you're going to need with this e-bike is zip ties. These bikes have a lot of cables, and in order to get them secure, you're going to have to zip tie them back on. The motor power cable, you have the cable for the your brakes. All these have to be zip tied away, because if they're loose, it can get right into your spokes or into this brake rotor here and cause a bunch of havoc. So you need to have extra zip ties with you when you have to do any servicing of this rear wheel. You're going to have a little wire cutter to make sure you trim off the excess on the zip ties. These tools are going to give you the ability to take off the tire, change the flat, and get the electrical cables back where they need to be. These fat tire bikes have a pretty massive amount of air volume inside their wheels. So if you use, in my old kit, I had a little small bike pump for the trail. If you try and use one of those, you're going to get yourself such a full body workout that you're going to just be exhausted by the time you get enough air in one of these tires. So what I did is I found myself this electric rechargeable air pump on Amazon. I looked at a bunch of reviews, and I saw this one was mostly positive, but I haven't used this enough to tell you one way or another if I'd recommend this one. I've only used it once. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use it again right now to demonstrate how you can inflate your tires. It's a nice size. This one has a decent sized battery in it, and it's going to save you a ton of hassle trying to pump up these big old tires on the side of a trail. Has the hose, you screw right into the top, turn it on. So I'm going to set this to whatever PSI I need. It's 15 PSI in this case. I let out some air just to demonstrate how this works. And it's nice, this comes with an adapter for Presto valve or for Schrader valve. Screw this in. You can see here it has a gauge right on the front. I'm at 7.5 pounds of pressure right now. I let out some air pressure to demonstrate. Tap the power button, and it's just going to go ahead and start filling up the tire for you. There you go. That's that. This thing, so far, I'm really impressed with this product. I think this was about 50 bucks. I'll put the price on the screen right now. But yeah, I recommend getting one of these. I can't vouch for this one specifically yet, but so far this one's been good. Since we're talking about repairing a flat on the side of the trail, the number one thing, one of the first things I would say to get if you're getting a fat tire e-bike specifically, to avoid ever having to replace a tire or a flat on the side of the trail, is get the Tennis tire inserts. They're a bit of a pain to install, but they give you a good amount of protection. I'll show you a picture. I ran through a patch of goat heads. Goat heads will pop your tire in an instant. I had hundreds of goat heads on here, and they're no problem at all. I have gotten a flat with these tires, but it was from a nail, and the nail penetrated all the way through, so it didn't matter what I had in there at that point. So I can't say enough. If you get a bike like this, get some Tennis tire armor. As far as you can ride away from home, and as much trouble as you can get yourself in with a bike with like this, and as heavy as they are, make sure you don't get flats, because the last thing you want to do is get stranded and have to call someone for a ride or push this thing 5 miles or 8 miles or 10 miles to get back home. You don't want to look like a square when you're out there riding your bike around, right? So one of the things you're going to need to do is get some sunglasses. And these aren't just for fashion. The speed you get going on a bike like this, or going downhill, or you ride sometimes and there's bugs in the air, you need eye protection. The wind will make your eyes water. So it's very important. I'm not a sunglass guy. I don't enjoy wearing sunglasses, but they're very essential for riding a bike because it offers you eye protection and you don't want your eyes watering. And hey, look how cool I look, right? So get yourself some sunglasses. and buy yourself one of these from my e-shop while you're at it. I bought this for 17 bucks, but it's your lucky day because I'm reselling this cassette, 7-speed cassette necklace for $259.99. That's right, guys. Be the first 100 to pre-order these at $259.99 before the price jumps up to $299.99. This next one is super important, and think of this more of as an investment than a modification or an add-on to your bike. You know, I spent $2,000 on this bike. E-bikes in general are going to be over $1,000. And if you're going to spend that much money on your bike and you're going to ride it anywhere, you're going to need to lock it up. I had this kryptonite lock. I've had this one for years. This is a decent lock. This is definitely a step up from a cable lock. This is going to offer you protection against bolt cutters. But unfortunately, the real tool of a bike thief is an angle grinder. And they make battery-powered angle grinders, and an angle grinder will cut through this thing in no time. So I do still use this, but I use this now along with this. This is a hip lock D1000. This bike lock was $300, and the reason it's so expensive is because this is a graphene infused metal, and it's designed to eat away at angle grinders. So while unfortunately if a thief wants your bike bad enough, they're going to get it if they have enough time. But what this does is this will take like 5 minutes. And the kryptonite, if you cut one side, the bar will twist around. So all you have to do is cut one side of this. It'll cut through in like 10 or 15 seconds with an angle grinder. This will take multiple grinder wheels to cut one side. And you can see here, this is rectangular steel. They have to cut both sides in order to get this off. It would take 10 or 15 minutes of solid cutting, and an angle grinder is extremely loud. This lock offers you quite a bit of protection. What I do is I use the hip lock, I run this cable through the front wheel, and I put the kryptonite lock on the rear wheel. You know, I'm not taking any chances. For reference, I have my Specialized Turbo Levo. That bike was like $4,800 plus additional parts on it. If I ride that bike, I just won't leave it anywhere. I'm not going to lock that bike up. I just don't. It never leaves my sight. I ride this bike to the gym, and I bought this bike because I want to use it for commuting purposes. So invest in a good lock. I can't recommend this one enough because you're going to come outside and see your lock sitting there on the ground and your bike's gone. That's going to make for a really bad day. So make sure you get yourself a nice lock. Unfortunately, the one downside with this hip lock D1000 is a bit small. So at the rack I sit it on, it's a tight fit. There's another brand called Light Lock, and they make an X3 version. It's similar. It's a D lock or U lock, whatever you want to call it, but it's bigger. Unfortunately, they're made in the United Kingdom, so shipping them here, it can be time consuming and you have to pay extra. You can get these at REI. These are readily available, so that's why I got this one. Forgive me, because I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. You know, I gave you the spiel about the bag, the pannier bag. I like these things. I like the idea of it, but in practice, like I said, with the hardtail, it rattles things around in there quite a bit, and I find that, you know, I'm going to use this still, but it's not going to be on the bike all the time. But what I absolutely never ride without is a backpack. So I know some people don't like riding with a backpack, but for me, I think it's essential. And honestly, if you get in a wreck or crash, the backpack, it serves as a arm, you know, it's your first line of defense. So it softens your blow if you land on your back. Unfortunately, you're going to have to stop the bike and get off if you want to get stuff out of this bag. And you're going to have to do it with the backpack as well. So for me, it's really just a matter of where you want to store your weight. I kind of like having it on my body rather than on the bike. I don't want the bike as heavy as possible. And I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to bikes. I like lighter bikes. I wish they would make these bikes more geared towards lightweight without all the bells and whistles on them and make them a little more nimble and lightweight. But that's not for this video. So I always have a backpack. That's where I keep my lock. That's where I keep my tubes. That's where I keep everything in the backpack. I don't know. The backpack to me is a definite S tier addition for your bike. One other thing you might notice here, I have this JBL speaker on my backpack. I've experimented around. I used to ride with earbuds in, and I have to say it's a really terrible idea. It completely blocks out the noise from anyone else. I remember one time this lady was waving and saying something. I couldn't tell what she was saying, so I just waved back at her, but you know, you kind of need to hear cars, people talking. So I have this speaker here, and I find that I like having it, you know, close to my body because I don't have to have the volume up super loud. I don't have to be very disruptive. They make speakers that can go in your water bottle holder, or you can put them on your handlebars. But I like having this smaller one closer here. I can turn it on and off easy. The controls are right there. I don't have to have that super loud, and I still can hear what's going on around me. So that's a big one. You know, you're out there having fun on the trail. I don't know about you guys, but I always have the music playing. Another honorable mention, and this is something I don't think I'd buy right out of the gates, but as you replace your chains, leave your old chain in your kit, because something can happen. You can break your chain, and it's nice to have a backup. So having an extra chain in your kit is also a very good thing to have. You know, I almost forgot. This might not be applicable for all your guys' e-bikes, but the Wired has a USB port. So don't forget to bring an extra USB cable. This is a USB-C for my phone or my GoPros or whatever I need it for. Another thing that's really good, really essential, and it's come in handy a few times for me, get yourself a little first aid kit and put it in your pack, whether it be in your pannier bag or in a backpack. But I almost always have this with me. It's nice if you get any scrapes or cuts, have some band-aids, gauze, whatever you need in your little first aid kit. So you have it, guys. There's my list of essential accessories you're going to want to pack with you when taking rides on your new e-bike or your existing e-bike for that matter. I don't know if I left anything out, guys. Let me know in the comments. Let me know why I'm wrong and why you're right and just a better person than me overall. So I hope you guys watched the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that nonsense. And until next time, guys,